What do I have that causes my chronic fatigue? It was a journey that took 7.5 years of doctors telling me that there was nothing wrong with me, having so many blood tests that I couldn't even count, having an MRI with contrast dye to see if I had MS. Most doctors telling me that I was just depressed and I just needed to get over it. I needed to go on antidepressants. And being a clinical social worker and having done therapy before, having had clients, I told the doctors, I know what depression is. I have a strong desire to live my life and to get back on track and get my health to where I can do everything that I want to do. I can work, I can function. That's not depression. Depression is when you lose the desire to do your regular daily activities in your life. And I was the complete opposite. I wanted it so badly. So over the years, I did a lot of research. I kept coming across this doctor named John Chia. And he's done research on chronic fatigue. And lo and behold, I found out that his practice was not too far from where I live. And I scheduled an appointment with him. Naturally, when you have a specialist that is like, there's not many specialists in chronic fatigue out there in the world. So I was told that it was going to be at least 6 months for me to get an appointment set up. So I made the appointment, and I also got put on a cancellation list in case any patient canceled and I would be able to take that spot. Well, in the meantime, I was sent a lab slip to have blood work done, and I looked at the lab slip, and these were tests that I never had before, and for things that were totally unfamiliar to me. And I had done research on the different kinds of tests that are done in a typical blood workup, and these were totally different. And so while waiting to see Dr. Chia, I went and had the blood work done. I was extremely blessed that there was a cancellation, and I was able to go in after 3 or 4 months. So Dr. Chia, oh my gosh, the most amazing doctor I've ever seen in my life, spent an hour and 10 minutes with me, wanted to know every single aspect of my medical history as far back as I remember. I asked him, well, how far do you want me to go back? And he said, as far as you can remember anything and everything. And at this point, he hadn't showed me my lab results. And as soon as I finished telling him all about my medical history, he hands me the paper with my lab results. And he points out 2 of them that were abnormal, and explains to me that they're in a category called an enterovirus, which polio is in the same category. And there's a lot, people say, oh, like everybody gets vaccinated for polio. And I go, yeah, well, polio there's, I believe, 4 strains of polio. So you're vaccinated for, I'm assuming, 4 strains, but there's like, I think there's like a total of at least 70 different enteroviruses. So you can get any one of those. And so my test was abnormal for 2 strains of a virus called Coxsackie B. And there's Coxsackie B 1, 2, 3, etc. And I had 2 strains of Coxsackie, and my titers, which is like the measurement of how much virus is in your system, it was the highest that the testing would go. I mean, there was no other higher level. And Dr. Chia explained that to me, and he goes, it's not all in your head. You really are sick. And I was so emotional that day, because after so many years of getting told that there was nothing wrong with me, I was just depressed. It was all in my head. Here was a doctor that had tested me for several viruses that nobody had ever tested me for. And he explained how these viruses work. Most viruses are single-stranded RNA as opposed to DNA, which is like, has 2 strands, and it's like, you know, I think everybody's seen depictions of DNA. These enteroviruses are double-stranded RNA. And what Dr. Chi explained to me was that since these viruses are double-stranded, they kind of get into your cell's DNA, the healthy DNA, and they kind of camouflage themselves because they're also double-stranded. And what happens when you exert yourself too much is, you know, your metabolism goes up, and your cell turnover increases. And when that happens, the virus, which is in all of your cells, well, it can be, there's been enteroviruses that show up in like pretty much every part of your body, your brain, your gut, your organs, your heart, kidney, liver, etc. So along with your cell replication, these viruses replicate too. And it's kind of like you're coming down with a really bad case of the flu. And so when these viruses are replicating, there's more and more in your system. Well, your immune system does what it's supposed to do. It kicks into high gear and does its job. And so you're worn out because your immune system is working its tail off to try to kill off these viruses. And it's like a never-ending cycle. You know, you rest enough to get to a point where your viral load is manageable enough to handle simple things. But then if you do too much, then you go back to being down in the dumps, you know, health-wise, where you just don't have any strength. I mean, I've been in situations where it just feels like I weigh like 50 pounds more than I do. There's just no energy. And, you know, unfortunately, there's been times when I can't prepare myself food. I just have I have a basket of snacks. I know it's not the healthiest thing to do, but you know, you have to have some, you have to have some caloric intake. So I just, you know, I'm in bed and I just reached out and I eat crackers or, you know, dry cereal. I always try to make sure that I have like several bottles of water at my bedside so I don't have to go to the kitchen every time I need a bottle of water. I just have like, you know, 5 or 6 at my bedside. So that's my story. And so when I dance, like I said, it's not depression. Like my brain goes, oh, I want to dance so bad. I want to so bad. Like I hear, like I think of a song and I get so inspired and I just go, oh my gosh, I want to get up and dance. I want to get up and dance. And usually I go into it, not usually, all the time I go into it knowing what's going to happen. I'm going to be pooped and I'm going to feel really tired afterwards. Like right now I'm sitting up, but there's sometimes when I can't sit up. I just have to lay back on pillows, and I find I find stuff to watch. Love having TV shows to binge watch. So if you know any good TV shows for me to binge watch, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always up for some ideas. It's kind of funny. I just finished watching all 5 seasons of Cobra Kai on Netflix. It kept coming up when I kept logging into Netflix, and so I finally said, "What the heck? I'll give it a view." And I just kept watching and watching and watching, because I'll tell you right now, I won't tell you like what it's all about and everything, but every single episode ends with a cliffhanger. Like you just go, oh my gosh, I have to watch the next episode because I have to find out what happens. So that was fun. That was enjoyable. Let's see. Chronic fatigue, like you may be fatigued, but it causes sleep disturbances. A few weeks ago, I couldn't sleep, and I'm like almost a lifelong fan of the band Depeche Mode, and they had a documentary in 1988 called 101, and I found it on YouTube, and you know, just to pass the time when I was sleepless, I watched 101, which I hadn't watched in a long time, and I had a lot of fun. It brought back some good memories of one of the times that I saw it. So you have to do things like that to occupy your mind, so you don't let your physical state get you down, because it really can. And I'll admit that it does get me down when I can't do something that I want to do, like, you know, like I said, even as simple as cooking my meals. It gets me down when I can't play with my dog when she wants me to play with her, give her as much attention as she wants, and it feels terrible. But you know, I might seem all happy and chipper and, you know, very positive, and I do try to be most of the time, but there are times when it does get the best of me. And anybody out there who has an invisible illness, chronic illness, knows what it's like. You know, it can really get you down, because you can't do what everybody else can do, and you lose a lot of friends, because they don't understand that you can't do what they do. And, you know, I've lost friends that rather than come sit and watch a movie with me, they would just dump my friendship in lieu of finding another person that will do physical activities with them. And it stinks. It stinks, but you know, it's just one day at a time. Sometimes it's 1 hour at a time. Sometimes, you know, usually I feel pretty terrible in the morning. Like, I wake up and just everything aches. It seems like somebody's taken, you know, a 2x4 and has whacked every joint in my body when I wake up in the morning. And there are a lot of days when it takes almost the entire day for that pain to get worked out. And often by the time that, you know, the pain is worked out, then it's time for me it's bedtime again. So it's like, okay. But, oh well, c'est la vie, and that's life. But, yeah, just thought that I would give you guys some insight into me, into my life. And, you know, so it's not a mystery. And know that, you know, the times that I do dance for like a minute and a half, it takes a lot out of me. It takes a lot out of me. But I love it. I love it. And if it brings any kind of inspiration or joy to somebody else, then it's worth it, in my opinion. So, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, wherever you are. Try to stay positive. And, you know, feel free and comment. And if you have like any concerns, questions, need some support, I'm here. I don't have much to do, but you know, it's really on my heart to support people that are in similar situations as I am. So just hang in there, be strong, and know that you're not alone. Take care, you guys.